You guys, I'm telling you, this is how I love to do reach outs. Like sometimes, and if my energy is not in the right place, I'm like, man, I just don't have it in me to be like, do you take a collagen today? Or like try to bring up the nutrition. But I just want to connect with people and know that it's like organically going to work out. Like this is how I want to reach out with people because that's what makes this so fun is the community and the people that like when they call your phone, you light up because you're friends with them and not like call your phone. And you're like, oh my gosh, if this person texts me one more time today, right? And this is like how it starts with you truly, truly picking your dream team. So I have the privilege and honor of interviewing and highlighting two amazing, absolutely amazing women tonight that are not only people that are friends of mine, but are having incredible, incredible, incredible success. And I know people are just like, what are they up to? Tell me what they're up to. And I love to just connect hot molecules with other hot molecules and just really trust that success leaves clues, right? So I want to first tell you how I met Jen, because this is really special in itself. So there's a woman here in Denver who's a master networker. I mean, she has one of the biggest BNIs. She leads her own online Facebook group called Colorado Boss Babes that's loaded with entrepreneurs, but I'll tell you, it's a really good group. Like she does some type of networking events that like she does like babes that brunch and like sells tickets, 50 people signs out like that because it's shakers and movers. They want to be together. And I have referred people to her. She knows a little bit about what I do. We were recently at a coffee appointment and I asked her for referrals, right? So we always talk about asking for referrals. These type of people know the type of people you want to meet. And I just said to her, I said, I'm really looking to connect with some other spa owners, some other people that are in the industry, in the med spa, you know, beauty and aesthetics. I love doing our sip and glows. And I said, if you happen to know of anybody, that would be an amazing introduction. Okay. So 2 days later, I get this introduction to Jen Youngs, and she basically did exactly what I said. She was like, Jen, here's another girl in the group, blah, blah, blah. I want you to meet her. This is what she does. And she was like, I met her for coffee. She is a med spa owner. I think you guys would really hit it off. And she takes herself out of it. Okay. So I meet Jen for coffee and immediately I'm like, you're my sister from another mister. Like, it's a little crazy how many things we have in common, but I was like, we want to be friends. I want to network with you. Like, I want to do business with you. And she came into this as just on fire. I mean, saw the vision, right? Love the product. She's naturally entrepreneurial. Okay. She owns an amazing, amazing med spa here in Denver. So if anyone's looking for Botox or fillers in the Colorado area, go see her. But she comes from a long background as a physician's associate. She was in surgery, in the medical background. I'm gonna let her kind of tell her story. So she has a ton of credentials, you know, an amazing background, but she's pivoted, right? She's her second career, second part of life. She's like, I want to do something so much different. And in the last couple months of working together, you guys, she's like, what does Jessica always say? An e-shot and an energy bite away from executive. I mean, she's right on the cusp. She's created a ton of consultants, a lot of enrollments, had huge successful events, crushed the July 5K relay that we're going to talk about. And I just want you guys to know that this is possible. And the people out there that we're looking to meet are just right there. So Jen, I would love for you to pop out, tell them a little bit about your story, what you were doing before, what made you catch the vision, what products you love, just kind of let them get to know you before I ask you other questions.
Sure. Hi, everybody. So nice to see everyone. So I think the first most important thing that I should probably start off with is way back when I was trying to decide whether or not to go to medical school or go to PA school, and I couldn't really decide. And life events happened and my dad passed away 2 weeks before I turned 21. So I said, okay, well, that sucks. This is not going to be great. So I decided to not go the full route medical school, go to PA school instead. I had 2 younger brothers and my dad committed suicide. So I just didn't feel comfortable leaving for that long and leaving everyone. So anyway, fast forward, got through school, graduated from USC in Southern California. I'm a California girl, I'm a beach girl. So now I live in Colorado, but I did orthopedic surgery for 20 years. Ended up hurting my own neck doing a surgery. So I had to get surgery on my neck and was told not to do surgery anymore. So hence at 50 years old, I decided to go back and learn Botox, fillers, all the things med spa. So that was a year and a half ago. And so I've had my med spa for a little over a year. And I met Lauren about 3.5 months ago. And she gave me some options and things that might help me as I'm starting out. Also things I could add in that really went hand in hand with med spa, certainly the collagen. And I started implementing that in my salon, and almost every single person that sits down asks me, what should I put on my face? What collagen should I use? What should I use for skincare? So it's been a very nice mesh of the two things. So for me, it's worked out pretty seamlessly. And I've just had a really lovely mentor who has taught me A, how to move quickly, B, how to stop pushing back on her with every suggestion that she gives. And I have a lot of reasons why I shouldn't do XYZ. And I get yelled at a lot by Lauren. And I also have my cheerleader, Emily, in the corner over there telling me to get off my booty and do XYZ. And I do. So I'm told I'm coachable. And I think that's very giant in terms of your success with this. If you can listen to the people that have done this and be guided by their success, I think you will be successful. And, I've had some other people that have really helped me along the way as well. And I do want to shout out Ann White. Thank you so much, babe, for your sweet messages and always being around. So I appreciate you. But it's just been crazy, a crazy 3.5 months. And I've met so many people that I never would have met, who also have referred people to me from my other business through, different networking events, isogenics things. Then people say, oh, well, I need Botox or I need this. Okay, great. Lovely. So glad to meet you. So that's kind of the background and how I got to this little hop, skip, and a jump away from Crystal Executive, which I got to get there. So that's my jam.
We're on a race. What's coming first, her Crystal Executive promotion or my baby? So we're talking about the time is clicking, and we don't yell at her. We just don't let her excuses get in the way and just our limiting beliefs. She's very, very coachable. So one of the very first things that we talked about was doing a sip and glow. She does have a beautiful space where there's a lot of foot traffic, outside of her regular clients are coming in to see her. And I said, just set up a table. We'll do samples. Em and I will come help you. We'll talk to people. We're going to get the lookbook. We're going to have the before and after pictures. And for someone who had never done this, hands down, one of the most beautiful display tables. I mean, just the little donuts, the champagne bar, everything that was ready. But I think if I remember, she enrolled 9 people at that event on the spot, and 2 consultants, hit Crystal Manager, her first event. And I would love for you to just kind of talk about what your experience was from that very first event, where we were doing a lot more of the talking and you were listening. So what you're doing now, how you promoted that, what you did to really create some urgency behind those enrollments. And in this, if it doesn't come up, I'll ask you again afterwards, but how quickly you're converting people to associate. I remember Em and I at one point just looking at each other and being did all those people just become associates too? We were surprised. So that's a skill set you have that I would love for you to chit chat about.
Honestly, for me, I'm huge into knowledge, and it takes me a very long time to feel comfortable sharing something unless I am very, very comfortable with it myself. And I had to completely get out of my comfort zone with this because I am I will research this for the next 18 years before I tell you I'm comfortable talking about it to strangers. And so I had to really not do that. And I really had to just jump in and start talking, and being relatable to people, I think is certainly something that's very, very helpful. Being in the med spa space did certainly also allow me a different avenue to speak with people. And I feel like once they trust that you have conviction behind what you're saying, they don't really push back at all. Or at least to me, once I say, well, why wouldn't you just become an associate and then you can jump on this train, because you're going to get asked by 10 of your friends what collagen you're using, and then you can just share in this too. And why wouldn't you want to share when it's so awesome? Because I'm awesome and I'm just telling you it's awesome, and you look awesome, you're going to look more awesome, all the things. So then everyone they just become an associate. I just offer that right out of the gate. I never just lead with only product. I pretty much always offer them to be associate. And usually they say, I might get one in a very few that say they're not interested in that. But then usually the next week or two, they call me back and say, hey, I was at book club and this girl wants to know what this collagen is. And then I'll say, yeah, so maybe you should become an associate, and then you can share. And okay, let me do that. So that's kind of how that went. And I'm sorry, I forgot your last question to me.
I was just talking about how you were like, how you promoted that event, how you had so many enrollments just on the spot, and what you've even done since then, because that was the first one, but now we've done like 4 together, and just what you're really doing with that and how you're leveraging those.
Got it. So I think number one, I advertise obviously on social media, and I advertise within my salon. I reach out via text to friends and people that I used to work with in the hospital. So I get a lot of my nurses and people coming up and saying hi, and just really that I haven't had a lot of contact with in the last year and a half. And they're kind of just curious when they see my posts, and they're wondering, like, what in the heck are you doing? Because you should be doing surgery and you're not. So they come and they check it out, and then they usually end up purchasing some collagen, and then those are the ones I usually get a call back a little bit later saying, hey, can I help you with this? Can I jump in with this? Or how can I do this with you? So they might be a little bit later down the road, but I just ask everyone on the spot, why would you not want to be an associate right now and make money back and pay for your product? So that's the way that I do it.
You guys, it's so true. And if you want to be a fly on the wall, if you're in the area, I mean, come, Jen loves having people at her events, but she's included other team members. So it always looks like her table's busy. So the person who's walking in just to like get their hair done or go get their wax or whatever in this building where all of the other stylists or salon owners are, don't know who from the team is like a part of this or who's stopping by and trying things. There's a really good, like, welcoming community feel, but her posture is so strong, and not because of her background, just the belief in the product. She was a quick learner of like what sets us apart, but that transparency. I'm like, hey, there used to be this free, it's free right now. Like, you should just upgrade because inevitably you're going to go want and tell a whole bunch of people, and I want you to get the bonuses. And it's just like, this is what we do. I mean, you go out to eat and you order an appetizer, and the next step would be ordering dinner. Like, Jen's like, first you're going to order the collagen, and then you're going to upgrade, and then by the time you leave here, I'm going to have you with your own links because you're going to go tell the world. I mean, she just goes through this, like, this is the way it should be done, and there's no hesitation, there's no weirdness, and everybody's doing it, right? So I really wanted her to kind of chat about that. I also, if you would, I would love for you to just talk about even like how your brother's bringing people, or how, you know, she doesn't necessarily want to be doing these events in her home, but other people are having great product experiences. She's like building event to event and saying, well, hey, bring them on Saturday, bring them on Thursday, and how you have current customers bringing people, because this is leading into how you're really having success with driving the line in your 4PET growth.
So my brothers, both of whom are former athletes, so I got them both taking collagen after some resistance. But up to this point, I'm I'm hearing my youngest brother on the phone with buddies talking to them about how his elbows don't hurt, his knees don't hurt, his fingers and wrists don't hurt, and he can get up in the morning and not creak around like he used to do so much. And it's just very interesting to hear their story. And then he is coming to all of my events, and he is bringing people that he currently works with or friends of his. And then he's sharing his story there, and people are overhearing that. And then the people that he brought end up signing up, and then they want to become an associate. So it's just sort of the sharing. And really, I mean, I do have a pretty killer family, so they're very supportive. But the fact that they've had the results that they've had brings an entirely different level to this. And the fact that they're male changes a little bit of the perception of the collagen being a beauty product. So I think it's really, really helped me with the aspect of just guys in general wanting to be involved and listening and understanding, and then taking it from another male saying, gosh, you know, this is really great. Like, I've been watching Jack's posts about her husband's hair, and it's absolutely amazing and it looks so good. And so I shared that with my brother, and he said, I should do that with my joints, but I don't know how to do that. So it's just hilarious that they have some joie de vivre with the product. I love that these big burly guys are coming in and talking and bringing people to my events every single time. And I've had once every couple of weeks I have them, and my brother's always there, one or other is always there and bringing people in tow, and they end up signing up, being totally interested. And it's just really neat. It's neat for people to share, and it's neat to have success. And I appreciate the fact that they trust that I'm not going to bring them into some silly thing here. I mean, clearly I believe in this wholeheartedly, and I have researched this on my own quite a bit. So I really do. I do believe in the product, and I think that shines through a lot when you're trying to talk to people. I think that really helps.
Okay, so before I ask my golden question, when we did your major like run for points, the last day of the deadline for the July pools, when Jen says she's coachable, you guys, like that's an understatement. I mean, it was like literally do this. And then I'm like, print out your, Maps Crystal Executive, fill this out, send me this, put your sticky notes down. I mean, she had been enrolled like a couple weeks when I hosted our most recent leadership retreat. And I was like, you got to come. She's like, what do I have to do to get there? And, I was like, go to Orlando. And she's like, are you going? I was like, nope, but you can have my hotel room. You better go, just because of like the pregnancy. And she's like, okay. She's like, I know nobody. I was like, don't worry, they're going to take you in. And she really is like hungry for this. So super, super coachable. And I just want to highlight that because I think a lot of people could say like, oh, it's because she is a med spa, or oh, because she is a physician's associate, or oh, we can say these types of things on why it might be easy for her, okay, which is not the case. When I tell you she's grinding, she's been on every team call since she got enrolled, she gets on the power hours, she is listening to everything Em says and Laura says and Jack is telling her and Jessica has told her and I have told her. I mean, she's doing the do and, gets on the calls, has listened to Josh Plant. I mean, very much doing the work because she's so hungry for this. So I don't want you guys to just think like, oh, she got lucky because of her background. It's anything like that. But I would love for you to actually talk about kind of what your reach outs are like, because she's not doing a ton on social media. And if you go and look at her Facebook or go look at her Instagram, there's a couple, and she's done some things in her stories, but for the most part, you are directly calling people, messaging people, asking for referrals, and it's old school connecting with people. And I'd love for you to talk about that because it's so relatable.
So I initially, we kind of made that list of 50 people when I first started of whom you should reach out to. And I maybe did 2 or 3. And I'm like, this is so lame. I suck at this. And this is embarrassing. And these people are going to throw their phone at me. Like, where have you even been for 10 years? Why are you asking me this? And then I just I don't know. I turned a corner. I'm like, I do not care. I do not care. So I started just doing the voice messages and saying, hey, listen, I have something that you're going to love. I would love for you to try it. If you don't want it, great. 30 days, money back, zero risk. So try it out. But I'm telling you right now, if you don't, you're going to be so pissed. So just give it a shot, try, let me know. And I got some lukewarm responses at first, and then I started to get more and more and more. And then when I was posting, I hate putting myself on social media, my own picture. I absolutely hate it. Once I started to put my picture up there a little bit more, I started to get a lot of women reaching out that I haven't seen since college. And they were asking, what are you doing plastics now? What are you doing? Because you look a lot different. And I really don't look a lot different, but their perception is that I look better. So great. That's lovely. Thank you. It's probably the Botox that I put in my face, but that's fine. I'll take it on the collagen. So they're asking and they see enough and they want it. So they start asking little questions here and there. And then, so the reach outs are mainly that. Just I kind of start off with a simple, hey, how have you been? I haven't spoken to you in so long and I really miss you. And how are the kids and how's the husband and all the things? By the way, I have this really, really killer company that I've partnered with, and they have some amazing things that I think you would love. Depending upon who it is, obviously, then I'll say XYZ. And then usually someone reaches back out and says, yeah, I do want that. And then I say, okay, well, how about becoming an associate and you can share with the people out there in California? And then they say, yes, that sounds good. Let me do that.
Yes, because I'm a gold. Type in the chat some of the verbiage that you're just getting. And I love that. And they're so raw, they're so authentic. And I mean, if there's anything about Jen, she is exactly who she says she is, right? I mean, like it, take it or leave it, right? I mean, she's so bold and exactly who she is. But I love that to be like, if it's not for you, no big deal, but you're gonna be pissed if you don't do this. I mean, like I literally have heard her say that. I'm like, okay, I would buy it. Like, I don't want to be, missing out on something. So the last thing I just want you to talk about is 2 weeks ago was the last day of the July relay, and we were looking at her points and she definitely has had some growth. She's got her brother who's like so close to Crystal Manager, some of her consultants that were starting to share. And I was like, oh my gosh, you can do this. And the June pool, like the first one, the 10K relay, I mean, she missed it by like a point, right? And I didn't realize how fast the reports were updating. And I was like, okay, this is never happening again. So fast forward to the end of July, And I was like, Sunday morning, I'm like, you're at 9. And she was like, how am I going to get to 20? I was like, we have this in the bag. And her personal enrollment box was checked. And it was a lot of strategy. Like, I mean, I given her like a few different ways to get there. But if you think about that, the third PET was 3 points, 4 PET was 4 points, right? Do the math, 20 minus 9. It's not that much. I mean, granted, I don't want to dismiss her effort and what she had to do, but we gave her like a few different roadmaps. So I remember telling her, okay, if this person gets 2, or if these people each get 1, or if this person gets 1, this person gets 2, like had it drawn out exactly what she had to do. And I texted her starting around Sunday morning at like 7 a.m. or something. I'm a morning person. And this got locked in about 12 hours later. I cannot wait for her to get that check on Friday when we get our direct deposit, or Monday, however we all get paid. But Jen, I want you to tell them exactly what you did. Like, because you went to brunch that day. I mean, I know you were stressed, but the messages, the reach outs, the way you offered incentives, anything that you did, that we want so many people to play in this August pool, right? So anything that they can take from you to apply in the next couple weeks, like spill all your genius, everything you did.
First and foremost, I had a stroke in the morning when Lauren was like, 9 to 20, you can do it. And I'm like, you are out of your mind, sister. This is not happening. But then I just sat down, I made my list. I looked over the list that she was texting me, and I started to kind of do the math a little bit. And I thought, gosh, if even half these people answer me. So then I just started railing my phone, and I was doing voice texts, regular texts, calling people, begging a couple people. And then I had a big group of family in town, and we were going out for the afternoon, whom I hadn't seen in over a year. And I felt so bad because I was on my phone half of the time, and I was trying to get people enrolled and trying to get people upgraded and all the things. And then I needed one more person. So before I went home, I looked at my cousin. I'm like, girl, I know you don't spend money on yourself. You need this collagen. I love you. You love me. Please just do it. You need it. And I need this this one little piece of the puzzle. So she said, okay, well, let me get back to the hotel. Let me get on my computer. I'm like, no, on your phone. Let's do it on your phone. We can do it now. And then so we locked her in, and I wasn't sure on some of the other people. They were kind of in the works, but really what it was a volume. It was sheer volume. The amount of messages that went out was kind of sick. It was really disturbing how many people I sent texts and messages to, but the amount that it worked for was great. And I got in under the wire at the 20 points and we got it done. But it was really just the volume and repetitive effort, honestly. And yes, Lauren, I am bossy.
So true. And I will just say that. I mean, there was a couple times back to where she started that was like, hang out with people that refuse to let you fail. And you just kept saying, this person not getting back to me. I was like, okay, call this person. I was like, this person not getting back to me. I'm like, you have 5 hours, and I just kept telling her, I said, Sunday morning, people are at church, they're at Costco, they're at hikes, it's a late. I don't know what people do on Sundays, but we call it the 11th hour for a reason. I promise at 8 p.m., everybody's going to get back to you. Just keep going, and it was like that. Just keep swimming, just keep swimming. And I literally think she thought I was crazy, but that's the part people have to borrow your belief. But she knew that I knew she could do it. And the fact that I put her in a message with Jessica Rigner, she had a little bit of double pressure at the same time. But she was like, holy crap, you put me in there with Jess. And she did it. And that's the best part, is like just pushing people to the edge so that then they reach their goals. So Jen, you brought so much goodness, so much
Thank you.
just value tonight. Thank you guys so much. Give Jen some love in the chat. Tell her what you learned, what you loved,
Thank
what
you.
you can go apply. And I'm going to switch the conversation to my girl, Emily Sutherland, who many of you know. She just recently spoke on stage in Orlando. If you don't know her, I want to skip through that story just because you can find it online right now, and it's amazing. But just the 411, she has the same nutrition background as me. She had joined 2 years before she really came back to build just for the product, had a great product experience, wanted nothing to do with the business. 2020 came in on fire. I mean, she went executive in less than 3 months. She hit 3-star in about 7 months or 8 months. Her first year, crushed every leadership pool, was just absolutely tenacious. And she was so motivated, had the vision, had the belief, finally the vehicle where she could do everything she loved, which was helping people look and feel their best, make money. But she was home, and she not only was home with her baby girl, she then got pregnant with her second baby girl. It was a wild, wild stunt. But as you know, this business ebbs and flows. Okay. If anybody has been in the business less than 6 months, put an 11 in the chat right now. I'm just curious. If you've been here less than 6 months, put an 11 in the chat. And if you have been here for a year, 2, 3, 4, some of us are getting close to 9, 10, I want you to put an exclamation point in the chat. Ooh, I love all these new people. So if you've been here longer, you know, so we got some exclamation points, you've got the 11s. For those of you that are brand new, your 11s, here's what I'm going to tell you, okay? Listen to this because no one can escape it, right? When we come in, especially if you go fast and you think it's always going to be unicorn and butterflies, that's not always the case, right? There are wall kicking moments. There's times you've got to regroup. There's times you've got to rebuild. There's times you've got to create the new class. There's sometimes you got to re-enroll yourself, all right? And so January, Em and I had a pretty tough chat, and she was like, I'm not quitting, I'm not going anywhere, but I don't really have my spark, I don't really have my mojo, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know why I'm doing this right now, like I've got to get kind of redirected. And from that period of time, from there to now, that I was like, okay, not only are you like the sexiest I've ever seen you, this body transformation, you know, she spoke on stage, she's an absolute insane team on fire right now, she's attracting in just a totally different level, a leader and team member that she's ever had, that I was like, I've got to get you on the call because so many people who've been in here for a long time need to see what that's like and what she's doing, because no one's getting lucky. This didn't just like happen to her. And she's like, oh, okay, like my Instagram algorithm got better and now suddenly my, you know, cycles are up a whole bunch. So Em, I would love for you in your words to just kind of tell everybody what you did to get your mojo back, like how you were feeling in January, what it was feeling like with your business, any pressure maybe you had at home, anything like that, and what it was that really got you refocused and even like recommitted, your clarity, all of the things back at the beginning of the year.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on. And you're right, this business does ebb and flow, and I very much so fell out of the flow. I essentially had this huge growth. Then I moved in and I have this little baby, and I was trying to figure out schedules of a 1-year-old, well, under 1-year-old at that point in time, and a little 3-year-old, and I didn't know what to do. I had to check in with myself. I had to go back to the basics. Simply put, I did a lot of me work. I put a photo of myself, which I was actually literally just looking at on my phone, that was a inspirational photo that I had way back. I wish I could pull it up right now. Oh, there we go. Oh, you can kind of see it. Me of my transformation post baby number 1. I needed that. I needed to look back, and even if you've never been there, you have to have a picture perfect vision of what that is if you're going to ever get there. I know that Lauren has always said you need to really paint the picture, but you need to paint it with joy in your heart too. There was a little meditation that I started working on my meditation. I started working on prioritizing having a massage and not having the mom guilt, which is so hard. I worked on trying to make sure having phone time, work time, and them time to be making sure that I am being present and in that moment. So I was really taking in the little moments. But I think something that this meditation kind of walked me through is do one thing that's going to get you to that higher vision of yourself in the future. Honestly, I pictured myself on stage a long time ago. And I told Lauren this a long time ago, like right when I started. And I'm sure she thought I was a little crazy, but that's okay. And essentially, when I started doing this about 4 months ago, when we had a little heart to heart, I pictured myself on stage. I visioned it happening like 4 years from now. So little did I know it was going to be happening so soon. But I pictured it, and I allowed myself to feel the joy of being on stage and having that presence. And I knew no matter what, I had to do my one thing, kind of eat the frog, eat the largest thing that I had to do every day. But I did a lot of me work. I prioritized going to the gym, and then I prioritized making sure I got my messages in, because guess what? You have to have the tangible of making sure you're following up, you're doing your connections, you're putting up your posts. And you're never going to be perfect at it, but it's the consistency. You got to keep the momentum up.
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely, absolutely love it. You guys, Emily is someone like she has to have a goal, right? Like that, like what am I working toward next? And that like, oh, this inevitable time that, I'm going to be a millionaire in the company, or I'm going to get to like 100 cycles. Like she really builds like to the event. She builds towards the contest. She builds towards the trip, and I love that she can have this long-term why. And that was one of the things we established. So I was like, okay, what are some things you want? And we broke down, like, she wants to finish her basement. I said, okay, how much does that cost? Like, what is that going to be like to take an unfinished basement and do it exactly like you want? And what do we have to earn each month? What do we have to earn each week? And then what are the KPIs, her key performing indicators, like how many enrollments, how many rank advancements for that to happen. But along the way, there were shorter things. So it was like the pools, right? She's like, okay, what do I have to do that? And when I tell you she's diligent, and if anybody's curious, message her. I know she'll share with you. She's diligent with her intention statements and her gratitude. She's diligent with her whiteboard tracking. Like she has it lined up. What is the cycle growth? How many enrollments? How many rank advancements? Like what is it that she has to get her team to do for these things to happen? And I mean, she's on it, like laser focused. And last month, do you have 49, 43? Do you remember what your points were? There were a lot.
49 or 48.
Yeah, it was like just under 50 for the relay. And it was like, oh my gosh. But one of the things, because she's been so focused on driving the line, she didn't have her personal enrollments, and I pulled the report and I was like, girl, this is amazing. Like you are like doubled like most people in the team right now or the company. And I was like, you got to enroll somebody. And it was such a testament of how she's been focusing on other people and really seeing their success that she wasn't watching her own. But at the same point was like, I'm not missing this, right? And she was like button chair, like, ass and grass, whatever, until she was going to make that happen. So I love the things that you're doing. I want you to kind of chit chat a little bit more in the personal development, more than going to the gym, but what you're reading, what you're writing, like how this has really made a difference and what's showing up in your business. And then I want you to talk about like the people that are coming to you naturally, the people that are naturally just like getting dropped in your life, the people that you're prospecting, and how simple sharing and developing leaders has been compared to in the past when it was like a lot of resistance. You're like, no one's building with me. Like no one wants to do this. I have all these customers, but no runners. And just talk through that journey.
Okay. So yeah, it's a complete 180. I all of a sudden have all these builders. And so on my intention statements, so I planned out my time. I luckily am able to go, I journal. I always write down what I'm thankful for every single morning. It is a non-compromise because I know it makes me feel better. And then I write out, this person is going manager, this person's going director, this person's going to be consultant. And I speak it into the universe. And I know that every day I'm going to attract some amazing human beings. Lo and behold, when I was doing this, I attracted into myself a pickleball tournament that I'm going to be participating in. Whoop, whoop. Like I know nothing about pickleball, but guess what? I'm going to have a little booth there. So this is the shift of making sure that I have had a tremendous heart of gratitude and knowing these people have very much so in a way kind of got dropped into my lap. One of my biggest builders right now, I met at a bar chit-chatting with her and her husband when my husband and I were there. We had a lot of things in common. Lo and behold, she was super entrepreneurial. And I was like, you need collagen. And then all of a sudden she's like, wait, there's a business here. Let's talk about that. And all of a sudden I have more business builders than I know what to do with, but I love it. And they're coming out of natural conversations that I think my energy, because I shifted, I know this is a blessing, but I was so hung up on what other people were thinking. I was so hung up with it. And hey, I'm a nutritionist. Hey, I represent this, but I didn't feel that way because I didn't have happiness in my heart because I wasn't working on me. We're part of, in a group with Lauren, having podcasts that we send that are self-development, growth. I prioritize listening to those, making sure that I can do my own self-improvement. I constantly will at least listen to a little bit of my Audible. Right now I'm listening to Talent Code. It's actually really, really interesting. this is something that I mean, how many times does a book get dropped in here that so many times I'm like, oh, I need to read that. Oh, I need to read that. No, get Audible and say purchase now. And that's fine. Like just do purchase now and then listen every single time you're in the flipping car or on the treadmill or anything like that. It's shifting and making sacrifices of somebody told me, I can't even remember who did it. There's no BV in TV. There's not. So leave it alone. There's no reason to watch it. There's not anything that comes enlightening from it. And every time that I even sit down, I almost feel guilty that I'm watching pointless blank. I hate it. And I could be doing so much more with my time, and I could be blessing somebody and their family and be able to bring their mom home if I would just open my mouth and reach out to other people. So yeah, that was Jack. It was Jack. You're right. Yes. And I love it. So there's the shifting of knowing how many hours you have. This is something that she was saying, but you have so many more hours in the day. You just have to work it appropriately. And if you time block it and you make sure, this is something that Lauren was really intentional. This is your time to make sure that you're recognizing your team. This is your time to do your reach outs. This is your time to work on you. This is, and you have to schedule that because we live in a ridiculously crazy, wild world. And if you don't have it blocked out in your calendar, you're not going to bloody do it. So to me, I need to just shift out of, there's no reason for me to feel mom guilt anymore because I know I'm building something so much bigger for them. I know that I have them seeing me on stage, on my husband broadcasted on the TV. She still says, oh, that's when you were wearing the white pants and black shirt. And I was like, you're a little 3-year-old. How do you remember that? But she does. And so she's going to see these moments that I was a bigger person and I stood up and I did what was more powerful to me. She's not going to remember that I wasn't there right by her side at that moment. Yeah, it was a sacrifice to leave them home, but it was so much bigger for what they see me as. And I have the power to empower them to be better.
I love that. We talked about that the other day. I was walking, I called him and I said, oh my gosh, please say this on the team call on Monday. But it's this idea of like, you think you're taking that time away, but you're showing them what's possible and how to dream. I say, can you imagine if you had grown up through like middle school and like those tough years in a house that was about personal development, like people that were into network marketing, you know, and I think about like Chelsea Lauren or someone who grew up that way. So think about just how different your girls are going to think and talk and respond and not react. And so I have one question for you, but I want to just highlight and say one thing. And I know that you guys, this community, it's always a safe place and we can share things. And I really want to applaud Emily. She's not saying something that I was able to see, but there was a period of overwhelm. You know, she's a full-time stay-at-home mom and she has a 3-year-old, you know, she has a 1-year-old. We were chit-chatting, and at one point in one of our chats, it was basically like, you know, like her husband was gone a lot, you know, he's working, he's back on the road and things like that. And it was like, you know, every time like her husband travels, like her schedule goes to the wayside, you know, and she's like, it's just so hard to get there. And I called her out on it. And I said, okay, I said, we can tell ourselves that story. And I said, or we can figure out how to fix it and take some radical responsibility. Because if you were in a job right now, I said, if you go back to nutrition, you know, therapy, and you're going to work 20 hours a week, 30 hours a week, 40 hours a week, back to where you're barely covering the nanny. I said, let's paint that picture. Okay, you're away from these girls a lot more than you are right now. You're not going to be able to replace this income. You know, like, what are the other options? And when she got really clear, okay, I'm never going back to that. And I said, then let's get diligent. And I said, you are not going to be on your phone all day long. If you're at the park, don't be on your phone, right? But at the same point, after the kids go to bed or during nap time, I said, you got to sit down and you got to do the things that are income producing. Like, you don't have time to dilly dally and blah, blah, blah. And even getting her clear on who to really work with. Like, her heart is so big. And I said, you are working with the dream team. I said, I need you to stop loving on the world right now and step into your leadership and step into a management type like mindset, that you're matching people with where they're at. And it just shifted that, like Jess says, you're not giving CPR at the morgue, you know, but that she had fun people and it was like engaging, and the attractor factor and her joy for this and what's coming in has been absolutely amazing. But that was a really pivotal point where she was like, okay, if it's going to be, it's up to me. And it's really fun to watch that come back and say, you know, like people are always going to be sick. People are always going to be traveling. Like there's always going to be something happening. And if you want this, that discipline, that consistency, that time blocking has been huge for her. And I'm not going to tell you that every day from 1 to 2, she sits down and does X, Y, Z, but she has a list. She has an agenda of what has to be done throughout the day or throughout the week. And she's committed to it and equally committed to being a mom. You know, she doesn't miss gymnastics. She doesn't, you know, like miss like bedtime with them or any of those types of things. And I just think it's so inspiring to see that you can have it all. You can be an amazing mom and you can make an incredible income and you can, you know, be fulfilled and love your business. And so it's awesome. So the last thing I want you to just to chit chat on is right now I looked at her points again and she's at 25 points and we're only halfway through the month. And I was like, girlfriend, like you're crushing it. You know, I want you to really talk about what you're doing with this group of people. And I understand that when people show up and they're interested in the business, it's different than just product users, but you are giving them tangible goals, the way you're supporting them, and you have the carrot just dangling on like, do this is what's excited for you, and casting the vision. That I really want you to talk about that, because as our whole company is focused on Costa Rica and for PET growth, it's very duplicative. And if you can just walk them through those steps, I know people are gonna like need new pens to like take this many notes.
Honestly, with the first 10K relay, it was like I was almost there. And so I pushed him and I pushed the team hard and I went deep. And I mean, I kid you not, I am on calls after I had a call this morning. I have a call just after this. And then I have another call tomorrow in the afternoon. And this is this team, and it's deep in the team. And so many people are so afraid to work deep, deep, deep into the team. No, it's not my personally enrolled, but at the same time, we just enrolled a value pack. Guess what? There's some points, Costa Rica. Woo! Like this is where you have to, I have a very big nonchalantness of why wouldn't you? Essentially, it's 100% money back guarantee. You're telling me that you've tried the shot, you've tried the Ozempic, you've tried this. Why wouldn't you? And here's the thing is you're also telling me that your husband's kind of stagnant. He's not feeling very good. We should just get him on a pack as well. So I have a bigger conviction of my delivery because it's 100% money back guarantee. But also when you're looking at this business, one way or another, somebody's going to say, wow, you look great. Somebody's going to say that because this collagen completely transforms your skin. We've seen the before and afters. It's no secret anymore that we have the most incredible collagen out there. And they're going to start talking. So if you have the ability to be like, look really fast, look at that. Wow. Whoa, those are incredible results. I know if you want more information, I'm going to send you this. Make sure they know that PVC. I have sent over packs and I've told them, like, did you put it in a folder? I want you to send put those photos in a folder so you readily have them available. I just walked you through how to do the cart. This is the simplicity of sharing the video, but also I coach them on doing 3-way messages, and I've had them heavily lean on me and say, hey, I just partnered with this girl. She knows all there is to know about this product. And seriously, she'll answer any questions you have. Girlfriend, you need to try this because it's 100% money back guarantee. And you're going to be hating life when I am looking so much better than you in 30 days. So it's that if you make it a little more playful and fun, they're that much more relatable to you. I mean, these ladies are fun. They're a great group of people. And if you make it all weird, well, you might a kid, you could try it. You don't have to, but it's good, but you should really look into it. But at the same time, when I first started, I did not have that posture. I did not have a smidgen of that posture. Make yourself do it over and over and over and over. How many times I wrote down exactly word for word what Lauren told me to say. And then I would audio it. I wrote it in my notes and I would pull it up on my computer, or I would write it down and sit there and say it over and over. Delete, redo, delete, redo. And same with Jess. I would use her bananas. I love that. Bananas. Because it is. Why would you not be able to share this? So yes, I share it a lot, and I can't encourage other people because people are going to comment that you look great. you automatically should just become an associate, because then you can at least get that 20% back, whether you choose to work it as a business. I mean, why wouldn't you? But 20%, come on. Anyway, sorry. I know I talked a little bit longer.
It's good. It's so good. You guys put some love in the chat for M. Do some takeaways there. And the last little thing I just want to say to really like highlight her, which I think is so important in this business, and sometimes we don't talk about it enough. If you guys have never read like The Go-Giver, I mean, I would read that book. What did Emily say? Like Audible, purchase right now. But this business is all about what you put out there and the people you want to help. And I've seen so many people with such a scarcity mindset, like, oh, that person's not financially linked to me, or like, oh, like I don't have time to help them, or whatever, that it's a block for the business. And people that are abundant and just know that, like, you know, I'm going to give and give and give, and then it's going to come back. And that's not why you do it. But she epitomizes that. There isn't a single group message I've ever put her into or asked for help that she hasn't supported, even if people are not financially linked to her. So many people have reached out to her after she trained on stage. It always happens. She's helping people absolutely left and right. You know, she's helping her team. She's helping other people's teams, you know, with the system, with her posture, with verbiage. And because she's putting so much out there, it's why these people are just showing up and trusting her. And there's a ton of integrity in everything that she's doing with her business building, with her health transformation, with the lifestyle she's living. And I remember Janny telling Jess and I that over and over and over, like, you have got to be the person you want to attract. And then they just show up. And seeing this girl who was in a funk, who wasn't super confident, you know, who is not using the products the way that they should be, you know, and kind of making all the excuses. We can all get in that place. And I have been there, you know, like I know Jess has been there, Laura has been there, like we have all been there. And that's the importance of sometimes talking about this. But when you can pull yourself up and look yourself in the mirror, and there's only one person who's responsible of the trajectory of what's next, and then to see that like just domino effect, like I could not be more proud and more aligned. And I told her the other day, we were on the phone, I said, you are absolutely magnetic. Like you're motivating me. Like, I don't think I need motivation. But I was like, you are literally getting me so excited about the type of people out there because of her energy right now, that it's just electrifying. So you guys, what an awesome Monday night. Thank you for being on here. Thank you guys for doing the team calls. We've got an amazing lineup of some guest speakers, some amazing topics that are on the way. Jess and I have the schedule built through like October. So just keep spreading the words, keep showing up. Have a great week, and we love you all. Good night, you guys.